Broadcasting on 469.5 meters, 639 kilohertz and 103 megahertz at FM, this is Akashvani Kohima. Good afternoon, dear listeners, and welcome to the launch of our live interactive program, In Focus. I'm Imtinaro, your host for the show, and today we start our series In Focus with War on Drugs in collaboration with the Nagaland Police. Before I introduce our guests, I would like to share with our listeners that our interactive phone lines are open and you can reach us at our phone line 0370 224336 and also SMS us at FM space F to 9436 805 333. Our lunch topic for In Focus today is war against drugs, a very serious issue that plagues our society and a very visible threat to the young generation. The government of Nagaland has officially declared war against drugs, with our Chief Minister, Mr. Nipurio, voicing his concern over the alarming increase of drug abuse and also administered the pledge for a Drug Free Nagaland, marking the state's commitment towards the war on drugs. Hand in hand with the Nagaland government, the Nagaland Police have lit the beacon to take proactive steps to tackle the menace of drug abuse and drug trafficking in Nagaland. And dear listeners, it is our pleasure to introduce our guests. Our warm Akashvani welcome goes to Shri Rupin Sharma, DGP Nagaland. So thank you so much for coming to our studios.
Thank you.
And accompanying him this afternoon in our studios, we are glad to welcome DIG Police CID Mr. KPS Ilyas and also additional SP Cybersecurity Mr. Michael Hyome. Thank you so much for coming to our studios. So dear listeners, they will be sharing on the challenges of drug menace in Nagaland. Right. Our first question, if I may direct it to our DGP, Mr. Rupin Sharma, can you tell us the history of drug menace in Nagaland?
In very broad terms, the history of drug menace in Nagaland is probably as old as people living in the hills in Nagaland, because even in old times, people used to take drugs like opium, which is kani, locally called kani. However, it was not used as a drug of abuse, but a drug of cure, where small quantities of opium were used in various households in various parts of not only Nagaland, but in various parts of the country also. It is being used for curing small problems like illnesses or diarrhea and other things. So opium was always used in various societies. However, later on, this opium menace, it is transformed into things like heroin, brown sugar and other tablets and pharmaceutical and psychotropic drugs, where the problem has become worse. A lot of these medicines, especially the pharmaceutical drugs as we call them, they are dual use medicines. So if it gives you relief, it gives you relief from pain, and then people start using that tablet as a tablet of abuse. So rather than becoming a medicine for cure, it becomes a medicine for abuse. Besides this, with Nagaland being very close to Myanmar, which is infamous as, say, a death triangle, if you would call it, where opium is cultivated by various ethnic groups in Myanmar. So opium is the base, or the poppy plant is the base for drugs like heroin and brown sugar and sunflower. So actually the word used in Nagaland, which is called sunflower, is not sunflower, it is Shan flower, because there is a state in Myanmar which is called the Shan state, where poppy cultivation is done in huge amount of area, and from there the poppy is sort of refined to make brown sugar and opium and this powder which is called sunflower. I'm told that in the 80s, this opium based drugs started taking a route in Nagaland. They were obviously from the drug of cure transformed into a drug of abuse, and the situation was very bad. That time, the society's awareness was not very good, neither about the drug nor its cure, nor how to go about handling it. So I'm told that particularly very inhuman methods were also used to tackle with the problem, sometimes chopping off the ears or cutting the nose of abusers or sellers. So those extreme methods did bring some respite, but in a human society all that is not good. Of late, some people say that this menace has become more in Nagaland because of this liquor prohibition. I'm not sure whether that is the case, because we do not have any factual data or studies to substantiate this. But a lot of people say that because of this liquor prohibition in Nagaland, drug abuse has increased. When we've stopped liquor, people have shifted to heroin. I don't really think that may be true. I think drug abuse is also a sort of a lifestyle problem and peer pressure problem in certain segments of the society. From what we have done in Nagaland Police, by catching a few criminals and traffickers and addicts, we have come to realize that a lot of people who are involved in either consumption or in trafficking and sale are from a very low strata of the society, whose educational standards are not good, who basically do this for survival or for survival from pain or to overcome the pain, and they have no other means of consultation on how to overcome this problem. That is why this problem is growing in Nagaland. It is quite alarming. Even if it is 15% of the population, it is very, very alarming in Nagaland.
Okay, so you've mentioned about the alternative high, like prohibition in Nagaland ase, itu karone aro dusra rasta bisari bole drugs khai. But that does not actually justify the use of drug abuse here in Nagaland. So to deal with any problem is to know the cause. Can you just highlight on the cause of such an outbreak?
Actually, there is no cause. There is the human mind is so ingenious that it will justify any wrong. So this people taking to drugs is one such issue where you are trying to take a drug, you know it is wrong, but you are trying to justify that it is correct because it gives you relief from pain. It is not very different from a person who smokes cigarettes trying to justify that it is good for my teeth. So there is no justification, but a human mind will try to justify anything which is wrong. So I don't think we need any justification.
The cause is the individual. It's
the individual who finds an alibi, he finds an escape route from his problems and tries to justify that this will give him relief. I'll ask my friends to join in and express their views on this, if any.
Yeah, I think let's start with Sir Ilyas here, and just roughly, what is the modus operandi of trafficking drugs into Nagaland, particularly Nagaland?
Nagaland, basically, it is by the regular transport, whether it is private vehicles or the public transport, both are being used. In some of the cases, we have seen very ingenious method being used, where the drugs will be very artfully concealed in the deeper pockets of vehicle which are specifically made, which will not be very easy if you are going for a normal vehicle checking.
Yeah, so how difficult is it for the police force to tackle the entry?
It is difficult because the road from Imphal to Dimapur is a very heavy one, where a lot of commodities are being transported. So imagine a truck loaded with a lot of items where a drug is concealed, a packet of drug is concealed, or a heavy consignment of drug is concealed. If we have to locate, we have to unload the whole of the truck, and then we have to find out. So unless you have some specific inputs regarding the transportation, it is not always very easy.
Okay.
But of course, on a random checking also, we are getting a lot of seizures.
We read a lot in the newspapers about this peddler being arrested, this much grams of cocaine. being seized. So, how often does it happen? How often are the seizures?
If you see the number of cases registered this year, it is around 340. So you can,
Till date.
yeah.
But we would not be surprised that almost twice as much of that number is
The
going,
traffic is,
going
without
without getting detected anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so tell us about, you've said about the peddlers. Tell us about when you interrogate them, when you question them. Why do they do it?
If you see the peddlers and those who couriers also, the money is a very strong motive. I am of the firm opinion that they do it for money only, basically. So all those drugs.
They know about the consequences of carrying that, but the money motive is so strong.
It's very lucrative.
Okay.
More than strong, it's lucrative. They are getting high returns. So we have cases where some people have been arrested earlier, and they get arrested again.
So there are repeat offenders because the money is that
Yes,
lucrative.
exactly.
Again, let me just add to what my friend Michael has said. Yes, money is a big motive, but money is not a motive in terms of hundreds of crore rupees or crores of rupees. I will again go back to what I said, that people who are either taking drugs or trafficking or peddling in drugs, a lot of them are literate or semi-literate people. They have sort of no means of income.
Yes.
The big money lure for them is about, say, 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees per day, not more than that. So, and that is also very, very risky, because from what we have studied is, like, for anyone who's transporting a drug from somewhere in Manipur to Nagaland, which means just crossing the Nagaland border, the person gets about, say, 500 rupees per 10 grams of profit, or about 1,000 rupees per 10 gram of profit for sunflower, which is as compared to the risk that he's taking and the amount of time he's going to probably spend in jail for this if he's caught. It is a very big risk. But the problem is that this lure of 1,000 rupees is also a very big lure for that category of people. It is big money for that person who is surviving, say, maybe 200 rupees a day. If he can get, say, 2,000 rupees a day on this, he's happy on that. So I think that general level of poverty awareness and literacy are big problems. From a lot of people that we've arrested, they think that this is a legal business.
Really?
Yeah, but because they think that this is legal because nobody has told them this is illegal. Since nobody has told them that it is illegal, then they think that it is legal. So that is a big problem where we need to create awareness among people that these are crimes, and I think we should not tolerate these crimes. In fact, there is some awareness among people that this is bad, because the traffickers especially, or the peddlers, when we arrest and we ask them, bacha kyun mana se, say tinta bacha se, bacha kan ke bhi de na de. So at the back of their mind there is some awareness that this is wrong. Okay, but that awareness is overcome by the money lure, whatever money they get out of it.
Okay. What about women peddlers?
Oh yes, I will not be surprised that women are maybe 60% of the peddlers, if not more. Not only in Nagaland or Northeast or this part of the country, but probably anywhere where peddling is taking place. I think women would be a very big constituent because of the typical nature of the society. Nobody suspects a woman, and even for a male policeman or for a civilian, it is very difficult to search a woman.
Yes.
We have a soft corner for the women, so a lot of women are involved. We have not come across too many women who are addicts.
Okay, but
there are a lot of women who are sellers and traffickers who are doing it either on their own, or they are helping their husbands or partners or friends or others. So a lot of women are involved in this.
Okay. Again, my question will be directed to our Sir DGP. What is the percentage of substance abuse back then, and the age group of people?
See, again, we don't have actually any study done in Nagaland on this.
Okay.
There are bits and pieces of information. I think there are some studies by Ministry of Social Justice of Delhi and all, but no local level study which has been done. I think to find a solution to a problem, we have to know a problem. How big is the problem? I think for any policy framework to be launched in Nagaland for this, I think there is an imperative need for a study to be conducted on this matter. How big is the problem? Which section of the society? Why it is being done? What are the profit margins? What are the risks involved? All those things are lacking. But in terms of consumption of ganja, I think Nagaland is second in the country, and in terms of consumption of heroin, again Nagaland is second in the country. So our consumption patterns are very, very high. There are the older age group people are basically or were basically opium consumers, the kani consumers. The younger age group people are mostly the sunflower and sunflower things. And even the younger ones means like anywhere between 12 years to say 35 years. But there are a lot of others who consume these medical legal drugs like tablets and codeine, cough syrups and all, pharmaceutical drugs. So all this is a very, very big problem, but nobody can say how big it is. I would request my friends to join in if they have any other opinion on this.
Let's talk about the younger age group now, because now the recreation any party de jayase it's easier to pass on tablets. It's easier for lokai kina khaule. It's very easy. So does this mean that there is the sellers are also young? Can you add to that?
What we have seen in Nagaland is that all those drug addicts or users are sellers in some kind of way. For their own usage, they have to sell a proportion of it, get some commission
income,
types, income, and they also buy as well as sell it.
And this is what makes the network very strong. Because there is heavy dependence not only on the drug but among friends, as they call it. Co-users have a very strong friendship, because if he doesn't get it today, he will take it from his friend. So even if we catch it, he is not willing to tell dusra sathi khan laga nam ko bole munna hai. So that is where it becomes very difficult for the police to penetrate into these drug trafficking and addicts rings.
Yes. So ekta minor laga age limit pi ase Meghalaya country de. So minor khange supposing the police party ekta party dhurishe now what will be the punishment or what will be the penalty for? Is there any such thing as penalty for minors? Because we have come to read recently that usage of drugs to most shockingly 12-year-old can be cholayase ninga ularu. If they are caught, it's illegal. What will be the consequence?
See, any offence committed by a person less than 18 years will be covered under JJ Act. Even if it is a NDPS offence, it will still be governed by the provisions of the Juvenile Justice Act, which says the only objective of government intervention in this is their reformation. There is no element of punishment as we see against the adults. So imagine a child age 15 or 14 or even 16 or 17 is caught with ganja. The idea is to help him come out of that. There is absolutely no element of punishment. So the police is empowered to give them bail from the police station itself. And if at all they are produced before the JJ board can send them home, or they will be sent to the observation home. And the idea is to get them out of that. And once they are out of that, any record of they being apprehended will be removed also. So they are entitled for a fresh start. So if he is applying for a passport or something later on in his life, this history will not be there. So the play of law is slightly different there. It's very, what should I say, benevolent towards that.
Laga ekta add karo bole mon thaga to se, although for the juveniles and minors the law is very benevolent, but the NDPS Act itself is also very benevolent for anyone who is a drug addict. So,
but not a seller. But not for a peddler.
Yeah, not for a peddler. For an addict, even for a peddler, to that extent you can make it a bit lenient, in the sense that the law provides that if an addict or a peddler gives full disclosure of information of where he was getting it from and what he was doing, who were his co-associates, what were the rates, who were the sellers, who were the anything else, or everything about the his associates. If he gives that information to the police and a promise that he will go to the rehab for treatment, there can be leniency on him. Okay, so this is my request and my suggestion to everybody in Nagaland. Apni khan laga family member thagile, bacha khan thagile, chinya jana manu khan thagile, ama khan loge ahebi. We will help. You help us. We will help you to catch the person who is selling the drugs to your child or to your family member. That is your contribution to the society, because if we catch the seller of the drug, your child is safe. And then we will help you by sending you or helping you to go to the send your child to the rehab center. Apne khan laga bacha rehab center jale tate bhi bhal ho jabo. Plus we will be able to disrupt the supply chain network of the drugs.
Okay, sir, if I may add, or rather repeat, the law is actually not against the persons addicted to drug. The persons addicted to drug, we can even say they are suffering from a disease. The law is all for helping them. The police is all for helping them. But the major issue is that this is a huge network of financial transactions and an economic offense. There are people out there, they don't use drugs, but they are selling drugs and trapping a lot of people.
Making a
So the
living out
focus
of
is
it.
actually against them, not against the people
Using
who are
it.
addicted to drugs.
Right, we have one message from Anga. Anga is from Chumukedima, and Anga says, DGP sir said sunflower drug is now commonly used among young people. What would be the reason for such a trend? Question number 2, what according to you should be done to create more awareness among the younger people? I think this is directed to us, sir.
Yeah, see, what could be the reason? Among the younger lot, it is more of peer pressure. Okay, if my friend Mr. Anga is a youngster, he would relate with me when I say that ekta bacha cigarette खाइले तो तलाका साथी खान भी खाई थाके और वो तखान तो family के ना कोई. They never inform the parents of any one of the children. They are so secretive about their own association and their goods or their wrongs. They will not inform anything. So peer pressure among youngsters is probably the biggest reason. The peer pressure works very negatively in the sense सब खाए हमें ना खाए ले तो हमें ही ब्याह से नहीं नहीं. So it just sucks everybody. तैखान इतो peer pressure ही तानी लो.
Feel accepted.
Yes, I mean you feel accepted or you feel rejected if you don't do it. So that pressure of being accepted by a group or feeling rejected if you don't do it.
Being in, so to say.
I mean both ways. You feel in if you do it, you feel rejected if you don't do it. That is a big reason. So I think that pressure, I think the parents and the children and the society need to tell the youngsters how to resist this pressure, how not to fall into the trap. Because if you enjoy a pleasure or a relief from pain for a moment, it can just get you into a trap where you will never be able to come out. So that is important. The second part where he said about awareness, when the question is about awareness, I think awareness is not just a police job, it is not just a job of the parents, I think it is the job of everybody in the society. I think we need to have mechanisms where a lot of people, we are able to reach out, not only reach out by what we say, but what they want to know. We are not able to answer the queries and questions of others.
Yes.
So we have to educate people about the ill effects of drugs, how the drug looks like. In fact, about a month back, I posted a small photograph of a small vial containing a drug, and most people did not know that this is how it looks like. Okay. People think that sunflower is like a sunflower flower actually. So if you don't have that, mysteriously, and if you don't even know how it looks like, how will you tell that don't do it? So I think more awareness, much more openness on this is going to be very helpful. In case of Nagaland, I think a primary problem that we will face, or which we are already facing, is the multiple dialects that we have in Nagaland. All this awareness campaign has to be conducted at different levels. Aro taikhan laga bujia manu laga taikhan laga kotate korele bala se nijor kotate na hoile na bujibo.
I would like to add on the first question.
Yes, please.
Itu sunflower kwado bishi addictive ase. First they eat it for curiosity's sake. Once, twice they have it for curiosity. After that, if they don't take it again, they have this turkey or what?
Craving.
Craving is one thing. Turkey. They get all these ill effects.
Ill effects.
Like body ache, all these things. So they have to take it again. So it is very addictive. So once you try it for curiosity, once, twice, or when you are not in your senses drunk, then after that, it's difficult for you to get out again.
Okay. We can sunflower la kotha ko atam de. Ajikali manu khan, even parents or youngsters, everybody, the sunflower is like a theme. Itiya to ekdam na. But for people like me, sunflower kwado ki nishina se sabule. Is it in the form of powder or tablet? Is it a liquid pani nishina? Na guti ahe, na powder ahe. Ki niga hisapte ahibo.
All India Radio te kiniga explain koribo hole. It is like a grainy powder.
Okay.
Mota moti kole to balu nishna na.
Balu nishna. Okay.
Hole bhi alop boga aru pila color saffron nishna color ko ho jaye. It's more powdery.
All right.
So it's with some crystals. Balu nishna ko bhi balu balu plus clay laga mixture na.
Okay.
Alop chipchipa nishna bhi thake, sticky nishna bhi ho jaye.
And very light.
Very light.
Okay. Itade smell asna, gun asna nai.
Na. Opium te to gun thake.
To moi sunflower khaile do ko gun na thake. Na janibo.
That is one of the problems which the parents and the guardians faced. It is very hard to detect. If your child or if you someone known to know tai khan khaya se kole apne khan na janebo. The only way you will probably, for the easiest way to detect someone who may be addicted is their irregular habits which will develop. Maybe they're going to the toilet too often, they're going to go to the go out of the house too frequently, or ekta specific time te jabo, because the drug will have its cycle. 6 hours, 7 hours. Tolob lagi jaye kole to after a few time they will go. Then some of them they do it they smoke it basically. So we have put out a photograph also on the social media. It becomes it starts leaving holes. Chinda hobo that bhitorte to hole ho jabo, because they take it through the pipe or something. So if imagine parents khan ke bacha khan ke ko aise, imagine ama khan laga body te or universe te one of the hardest and toughest substances is enamel of the teeth. Ito drug to itu ke bhi biya kori dile to apne khan laga sharir baki to what about the bachi bole na hoy. To please avoid. So teeth, if you have holes in your teeth, that is a big reason. I think parents nimete kwado they should, I mean, inspection kora na hoy ani bhi apne ke sabo ko na hoy bole bhi should keep watching out for their hands and legs of their children if possible. Tate kunba injecting drug users kore thagile to chinda thake bode bishi. They get boils on their hands and feet from the veins where they inject the drugs. So those are some of the easy things. But I think lifestyle is a very important issue. They will try to go out early morning, because if the cycle of the drug is say 8 hours, the 8 hours is like so he can't survive. So he will have that urge to repeat that cycle. So that thing becomes very easy to detect for parents.
Sirs, we have another message, and what is that one thing drug peddlers or traffickers are mostly scared of when they get arrested by the police, and why?
One thing
mostly
that they are
scared of when they get arrested. Ki bhoy lage? They can arrest really. What is the?
Nijor laga bhoy lage hole bhi. I think the first problem that they face is the withdrawal symptoms, especially the addicts. Hamakhan custody te thagile to bishi din thagibo na pare, bishi der thagibo na pare. So unless they have access to another dose or something, they are afraid of that. I think second thing that they are afraid of is not sharing details of where they are buying or selling. That is where their whole system runs. So they don't want to disclose any details. And there is a lot of, I personally think that there is a lot of myth around this drug business, where anyone who is an addict or a peddler feels that if he takes the names of other conspirators or traffickers or peddlers, ताइखान मुराई दिगो ना इतो भय परा भी दूसरा लगा नाम ना कोई. I have not come across anyone in
repercussion from
the seller or
yes.
to whoever. We have not come across anyone like this in Nagaland in the past 10 months or so, where someone who has given the names of others has been threatened. No.
Okay.
But hole bhi bhoy aise to na. Bhoy laga to ilaj nahi. So I think these are a few things that they are afraid of. If anyone wants to add.
Okay, on that note, we will take a short break, and in the studios with us we have our DGP sir, Mr. Rupin Sharma, DIG Police CID, Mr. KPS Ilyas, and Mr. Michael Yume, Additional SP Cybersecurity. And dear listeners, let me remind you that our phone lines are also open. You can talk to our experts at our phone number 0370-224-3036, and also message us at 9436-805-333. Back with you in a few seconds. Welcome back, dear listeners, to our program In Focus. Today's topic is war on drugs, and as I mentioned earlier, we have the DGP Nagaland here with us, Mr. Rupin Sharma, DIG Police CID, Mr. KPS Ilyas, and Michael Yume, Additional SP Cybersecurity. So let me direct the next question to Mr. Ilyas. And what, in your honest observation of Naga society, demands a drastic reformation? It's a very broad question, but just an opinion.
What I strongly felt, I was in Dimapur for 3 years. What I felt is, rather than changing, what the Naga society has to do is to maintain the good aspects which it had. For example, the social capital of the Naga village is a fantastic achievement it has. It has a wonderful way of shaping up the individuals, which is in many ways being absent when urbanization is creeping. Imagine a family who is migrating to Dimapur. The kind of socialization the earlier generation was undergoing is not available to the youngsters. So the social capital the Naga society used to have should continue in some ways. So what I feel when it comes to the drug menace, that is one redeeming aspect of Naga society. So I again feel that rather than undergoing any drastic changes, this is one thing that we have to know.
We have one more message. I think Sir can take this. Can you explain the laws and penalties associated with drug possession and distribution in our jurisdiction? Drug possession and distribution, laws and penalties.
See, it's a very technical thing, and it's available online. It's not a very something which is not accessible to the public, but I think the punishments can range from anything between 2 years to about 10 years for the first offence, up to 20 years for a second offence, or in some cases even death penalty is prescribed for.
Even in India?
Oh yes, death penalty. This is one of the very few laws where death penalty can be given for a person who is involved in drug peddling. So briefly, the offences and the penalties are very, very stringent. So it is my appeal to everybody that please keep away from drugs. Not only this, if I can add another thing to this, whenever you will be punished by the court orders, it is fine. But even if you are able to come out of the jails on bail, I can tell you that you will lose a lot of money. No defense counsel will try to help you on charity. If you are involved in a drug case, you will lose at least 5 to 6 lakh rupees even for just getting out on bail. After that, if you have to get acquitted, you will spend much more money. So even for persons who are trafficking or involved in consumption of drugs, especially the traffickers, if you are getting 1,000 rupees profit for one soap case for about 10 grams, imagine that if you are caught once in 2 years, you will learn your entire earning for the past 5 years. So it is not at all a good business to do. It is not worth it. Not worth it at all.
Okay, so itu police kan bra itu drugs bikri kura kan ge duria do takan lagab itu punishment or penalty do kini ka saja do ki hisab te dibo takan kiman grams durishe itu law pore saina tai durishe tai ke talibi iniga saina ki hisab te kuriba
quantity la operate thake.
Okay.
There is one thing called commercial community quantity, and there are some things what we call this for usage only.
Okay.
So it depends on the quantity and also the repetition of offense.
Right.
First offense, second offense in the
Okay. My next question is directed to you again, Michael. Talking of drugs, ikta stigma or discrimination ini gabi thagi jaina amihan society de ini amakan bhai bohini khan hoilbi neighbors khan kunba drugs kha ase bole aya tai du ini ga kha manu tai biya manu ase tai du ini ga kore tai lo namilibi ini ga that the person the user to isolation ekta pi face kuri jaina ki ini ga mukhan ekta when we look at them in a very different way when we come to know that they are using this but to keep ekta rehabilitation kurule lagi she kule to stigma and discrimination to overcome to mukhan ki kuribo lage as common people
like agide kwanis na itu drug use korka disease ase. It is a disease. Itu kita cure kruwa lagi sob milai kena. So itu stigma ajikali ama baba han man laga noliku kuila prabi kui dege. Tai drugs khai talo na berabi kui na. This should be removed. Itu no hoi kena community support plus itu kya church kan hobi civil society organization hobi youth kan hobi we should see this as a disease. Aro tai klan hogi because they have a network of their own. These drug users. Itu network we man balbar penetrate kurina, convince kurikina because I believe it is in our collective conscience to endeavor that Nagaland is a drug-free state.
Itu stigma laga ekta kole thaga. I think if we start equating, if we start distinguishing between a trafficker and a peddler and only an addict, although most addicts will also do some peddling, hole bhi beshi bhag iniga bhi thagibo kunba to thagibo only addicts bhi thage. Those who are only consuming drugs. So there has to be a distinction made between purely an addict who has a friend or a group of circle of friends with the co-users where there is no money changing hands and peddlers and traffickers. So addicts khan to we need to consider them like victims or diseased people. To amakhan nitu monte bhavna rakhibo lage ghorte kunba bemar hoile to ki kore. Manu bemar hoile to treatment te loi jay na. So the same thing if there is a addict in your family, addict near you, consider him as a victim. Don't think that he is doing something wrong. Take him to a doctor, which is a rehab or a detox center or a de-addiction center, taiki chance devi thik ho bole. But I would request everybody in the society that if you know of a peddler or a trafficker, please do not be merciful to them. They don't need anyone's mercy. They don't deserve anyone's mercy because they are spreading poison in this society. Pura society the zehar bikri kore ase taiga.
So you've mentioned in one seminar that drug peddlers can janigina lokpaigina. We should not take the law into our own hands. Can you shed more light on what your opinion meant?
You know, what happens is there are a lot of maybe well-meaning, self-styled individuals or groups who think that they can eradicate this problem from the society. So what they start doing is they will start catching addicts and peddlers or traffickers. However, even after they have caught anyone, they have no interface with law. They do not report anything to the police. They do not inform the police or associate with the police, and they start doing the self-styled things. Okay, fine impose kore debo. To apne khan to fine impose koribo na pare to. Imposition of a fine on anyone by putting him in fear is nothing less than extortion. Okay, so that is one, that it is a crime to impose fines on anyone who is a addict or a peddler or a trafficker. The other aspect is kotha Nagaland te koile ekjan pangsha laga addict ase. Pangsha te ekta addict ase. তো তাইকে ধৰিব পাংচা মানুহখান কথা কথা ধৰিলে তো ক'ত পৰা আনিছে ডিমাপুৰ পৰা আনিছে তো কি কৰিব what does that pangsha village do you know by taking the law into its own hand and just arresting and not coming to the police you are just restricting the problem there and this fellow even if you throw him out of your village he will go to some other village so that is why I always say please don't take law in your own hands the police and the law enforcement agency is the officially mandated organization for controlling crime. This is a crime. We can control and check crime in any part of the country. If you start taking law into your own hands, another problem which takes place is ekta group te, ekta society te, civil society te, NGO te, sab manu eki nishna na hoy. Na? Kunba to dhoribo for a good reason. Kunba to jane ase tu Rupen Sharma drug khaye. तो अलग दिन घुराएगा ना वापस जाना आई तुम्हें तो ड्रग खाए 2000 dB तुम्हें तो खाए 3000 dB so when you do not have that official interface with the law enforcement agencies you are only sanctioning giving an official sanction your sanction to that continuing ना हमें एक बार लोई थागिले if someone was to take money from me every week then you are allowing me to continue it every week whereas if you were to arrest me once this will stop so please don't take law into your own hands it is full of riddles you are committing a crime also by taking a law into your own hands
okay now do we have a helpline to report such users or sellers ekta helpline asna na
this year in September under the guidance and direction of DGP we have met one online portal and it includes an app so that online portal they apni complaint dibo pare as a complainant or an informant
okay
and you can in the portal there is the app also you can download the app and give information to us and through WhatsApp also you can give the information so that information basically to it is there are two types one is you can give it anonymous complaint or one you can give your details also but whatever information you give will be confidential no information will leak out once you give the information to us regarding the drug users or the drug peddlers or extortion or any other crime, you can give your photos, videos, or even images or documents relating to this aspect of crime, and we will take action.
Is that only for drugs or other crimes?
Other crimes also.
Other crimes.
See, it is. We started it for drugs and extortion.
Okay.
But it is the portal is so general. Then you can report any type of crime there.
All right.
Okay, you can report any type of crime. Basically, the intention was this focus. So you can say the focus is on this, but any other crime can be reported. For example, liquor smuggling, areca nut smuggling, tobacco, anything can be reported there.
Okay. Now, before we continue with our discussion, the government of Nagaland has officially declared war against drugs, and this year on August 15th. Our Chief Minister, Mr. Nipurio, has reiterated his concern and also administered the pledge for a drug-free Nagaland, marking the state's commitment towards the war on drugs. Let's listen to that pledge.
We consider drug abuse and its battling a serious menace to the society in our state, and therefore we have resolved to give a further impetus to our war on drugs. We are taking measures to ensuring strict enforcement of preventing measures jointly by the major stakeholders like the churches, village councils, and the department concerned to eradicate this menace from our society. As a mark of our commitment towards war on drugs, on the occasion of the Independence Day 2023, I pledge to make our community, family, friends, and ourselves drug-free. I will take all efforts in my capacity to make Nagaland and India Nasha smoked, or drug free. Together, we pledge.
Welcome back to our program, dear listeners. Sirs, we have more messages coming in, and I think this one should go to Sir Ilyas. The question is there a Narcotics Control Bureau and Anti-Trafficking Unit under Nagaland Police?
Narcotic Control Bureau is working under the Government of India, and they have a regional office in Guwahati. But within Nagaland Police, we have a dedicated narcotic police station, which is stationed in the police headquarters itself, which is having pan-Nagaland jurisdiction.
Then again, one message, I think Sir Hyome can take this. What do the police do with the seized drugs? Let's take it one by one. What do the police do with the seized drugs?
Destruction. Pre-trial destruction is being done recently.
Okay.
Because there's a fear that there will be some pilferage also, which happens in Nagaland or even across the country. So pre-trial destruction is being done at present. That's the focus.
Okay, so the second question is once an addict, always an addict true? Will the addict have the urges for the rest of their life? I think, Sir Ahmed.
Unfortunately, as the statistics goes, those who are using drugs such as opium, ganja, the recovery rate is quite low. It is as low as 20, maybe at best 30%. So the whole focus has to be on prevention. But we cannot say that once an addict is always an addict. And I am not sure whether we should use the term addict itself, because it is better to use persons who are addicted to drugs, because it has a slight, should I say, pejorative connotation where we are castigating them. We have to treat it as a disease only. And I would reiterate that the whole focus of law and police is not putting the people who are addicted to drugs in trouble, but those, as DGP said, who are spreading poison in the society by making money and selling drugs.
All right. Okay. We have another question here, but I think Sir DGP should take this. Question to any of the panelists. Sir can take this. Though the Nagaland government has declared war against drugs, however, how serious is our state government on this issue? What are the steps taken by the government so far in terms of intervention and so on? Also, please highlight on the steps taken by the police department.
I think the state government is very serious. Firstly, we should all be thankful to the Honorable Chief Minister and the state government that through his administering the pledge, the war against drugs has taken the forefront. It has taken the front seat in the bus. I think everything else will follow from that. To begin with, our battle was a losing battle. We started with a note where our preparations on every count were very minimal, whether it is police or law enforcement action. In the sense that yes, police was doing it. It is not that police was not doing it. Without the pledge, the police was never catching drugs. But the focus was not there. Now there is a singular focus that we have to tackle extortion, to tackle drugs. So this pledge has led to a focus on police putting its efforts on catching the peddlers and traffickers. On our own behalf, inside the police department, we have taken a lot of measures. We have taken a lot of measures for educating the public at various platforms, and I think my joining here is also a testimony to the fact that how much importance we have attached as police department to all this. We have been within the department, we have been organizing talks and seminars and other smaller workshops within the department. We have been advising our police personnel if they are involved in drugs, especially the ones who are consumers, to go for rehab. However, as I said, across the state, across other departments, there are many stakeholders. All stakeholders have started on a sort of we are fighting a battle which we are not capable. We were not capable of fighting. So we have requested the state government and the central government to assist us. For everybody's knowledge, that there are different committees there is a national level NCORD committee for narcotics, which is headed by the Union Home Secretary. He takes a meeting periodically. Then the state chief secretaries head the state level committees of NCORD, where the review of work of narcotics is taken by the chief secretary. Then there is a district level NCORD committee where all stakeholders and departments are there. From the police side, all states, including Nagaland, has been asked to set up anti-narcotics task forces. So in Nagaland, the anti-narcotic task force is headed by the ADG Law and Order, who reports to me directly. Me and my team, we directly supervise the anti-narcotic work. Then there is the role of the Ministry of Department of Social Justice for the rehab detoxification centers, including the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, where the detox and all is taking place. Lastly, the rehab centers and the de-addiction centers. Now, our current capacities for detoxification and de-addiction are, or the rehab centers as we call it, in Nagaland are very less. As I gather that the current capacities for rehab is only about 600 people at a time. I can tell you that we have almost 1,000 times more, or at least 100 times more, which means 60,000-70,000 addicts at a time in Nagaland. So our current capacities are very less. So we have requested the state government and also the government of India to help us in setting up of more rehab and detox and de-addiction centers. The government of India gives decent funding for setting up of these centers. So it is also my request to all well-meaning people who want to combat this drug abuse that if you want to set up a de-addiction center, please go to the website of the Ministry of Social Justice of Government of India. They have elaborate procedures on how to do it. You can also join the fight against the drugs. I think the major challenge is how to create awareness, because only once we create awareness we will be able to prevent this abuse. Then there are issues about how the information comes to police. Let me just tell you that a lot of people are hesitant to share information with police. They think that their name will be leaked out. I can give you my personal assurance and also of the Nagaland Police that if you share any drug related information with us, either on our website or a portal or the app that we've shared, or our personal details or personal WhatsApp and Facebook or Twitter handles, your details will not be leaked out to anyone. Police will definitely act. So within the police department, some people will know what is happening, but nobody, including the person against whom you have shared the information, will know who has shared this information with police. So there is an absolute protection to people. So I would request everybody to join hands with the police in this.
Now, the issue of drug usage or the buying and selling of it is not restricted to Kohima or Dimapur alone. Now we have many districts. Are all the districts, the police forces, equipped to deal with this menace?
As I said, like initially when we started, we were not having the focus. Combating drug trafficking was always a part of police duty. Okay, so to that extent, they were always ready to do it. But without that focus, that sting in that work was lacking. There are certain things like the creation of databases about criminals, creation of databases about addicts. Those things were not taking place. Because as I mentioned earlier, one criminal can in one part of the state can be buying from anywhere in the state or anywhere in the country. So we need to develop those linkages. Those mechanisms for those linkages were absent. So we have developed those linkages, those mechanisms. So we are fairly well equipped, at least in Kohima at the headquarters. And we have developed more systems where we can leverage on the expertise of our senior officers who will personally monitor drugs cases and try to find out the linkages. The government of Nagaland has been helpful by helping us to set up or upgrade a lab where we can get results of the drugs, the forensic results of the drugs in about, say, maximum about a day. So the order for the machinery and equipment has been placed. It has been delivered. Only the training part and starting is left. I think which should take place in the next 10, 12 days, 15 days. Definitely in November it will take place. Then the Narcotics Control Bureau from Government of India has also been very, very helpful in all this. They have an annual system where they can help us in procuring additional equipments and all. So we have been projecting our requirements. We are hopeful that we will get some help from them. One area that we lack is the sort of the source funds, the secret funds that we can pay to the informers so that the informers can give us more information. There is an incentive for the informers to give information. The Nagaland Police, the state government, is seized of the matter. Hopefully we should have enough funds for giving money to our informers or helping them if they share information about drug traffickers with us.
Okay, and on that note, listeners, we would like to say thank you to our DGP, to Sir Ilyas Ahmed and to Sir Michael Yume for taking time out to sharing with us their thoughts and their plans to wage the war against drugs. This is Akashvani Kohima. Thank you for being with us. To all the listeners who have sent in your messages, we thank you for your participation. Stay tuned now for the news to be relayed from Delhi.